I think this brings us beautifully on to Black Adam.
Yes. Of which
I think it's only right I start after the message I sent to you basically immediately after finishing the film.
yeah. Which actually made me go watch it sooner than planned.
So I went, okay, so I was wrong. They smashed it.
I just want to refer to last week where we ended with me saying, if this is great, Connor's going to have to say he was wrong. And if it was bad, we won't be talking about the film.
I mean, let's be clear here. I don't hate being wrong as
No,
long
I
as
know, I
like
know.
I'm wrong and it's like a positive that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, I'm really excited for this film and be wrong because that's just fucking sucks. But my main concerns were it was going to feel a bit too mid-2000s-y,
Yeah.
with too much emphasis on action and a very basic story that doesn't really give us anything. And I didn't want them to go the other way, where they tried to make it too kind of like Infinity War, Civil War level of like story needed. Because these are new characters, that's a lot to expect from people in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think they hit that balance head on the note, right on the nose.
I would agree.
For me personally, Piers Brosnan absolutely hit it out the park. He was so good.
Yeah, he played his role incredibly.
He did a very, very good job. I enjoyed, I forget the actor's name, the person who played Atom Smasher and Cyclone were also highlights for me.
Yeah, I think they did a great job in their roles, playing their characters.
Yeah, and I mean, The Rock's got to be happy. This was his highest ever opening weekend as a leading man.
Well, his passion project's paid off.
It has indeed.
I have to say as well, I think The Rock, in the Black Adam role, suited it very well, actually. Maybe because we all know The Rock is an action film star. He's not necessarily the best dialogue actor, shall we say.
Yeah, like, when you hire The Rock, you're hiring him to be The Rock, not to be like a character actor.
Ian McKellen or something.
Exactly.
But, and maybe the way that they did the story for Black Adam and how I think how they presented him with him kind of not really knowing what the fuck was going on, sort of thing, and being thrust into a new world, that it played very well into The Rock's hand.
I think Black Adam as a character doesn't ask as much of like the really deep acting as other characters do, which allows The Rock to not be obviously off the mark.
Yeah, it kind of actually plays into him.
There's a couple of bits I didn't like though. The film wasn't perfect.
Okay.
I get it's a superhero film, so there has to be elements of comedy. They seem to have got about the rule of 3 though.
Okay.
So the whole him walking through doors constantly or walking through walls.
Yeah, that got boring by like.
Yeah. They did it 3 times in quick succession just after he woke up in the flat. Each of them got a little chuckle at me. And then they just kept on doing it. Unnecessary, wasn't needed.
Yeah, I feel like I was fine with it. Like you say, those first 3 times when he's like, wakes up in the bedroom, smashes into the living room, and then smashed essentially out of the building, right? And left.
Into the hallway and then out the building, yeah.
Then it's like, after that, like, come on. What made it kind of more annoying to me was there was a thing later on where they made some reference to, they don't have doors in your time. He's like, they got in and out.
Goes, did you not have doors back when you were alive then?
And he was like, yeah, we used them to enter and leave buildings.
Yeah.
Obviously it was meant to be like a sarcastic joke, but then it kind of just was like, why the hell is he just smashing through walls then?
Why has so much time been wasted on this bit?
Yeah. Because that's also not a cheap joke to do in a film because of the practical and visual effects that goes into every time he smashes through a wall.
I really wasn't a fan, although it did work. I'm not saying it didn't work. This is purely me nitpicking, which I'm always going to do with films. I didn't enjoy how much of the story of his origin they changed.
Okay.
His son sacrificing himself to save him instead of him killing his nephew because his nephew wasn't doing what was needed to save their land.
Yeah.
That felt a little bit too much like, well, we can't make The Rock look like an arsehole. He can kill nameless bad guys, he can't kill innocent nephews.
Yeah, honestly, I think the reason they changed that is because they wanted to try and hide that whole twist of the story of, right? Like they obviously had this idea that they wanted you to believe that he was
The champion.
the champion, and then psych, it was his son. Whereas if it had been like him killing his nephew or whatever, it's kind of harder for them to try and do that sort of, I guess, story twist that they came up with.
But at the same time, going back to that twist, was it actually a twist? Because in the prequel bit, right at the beginning, when you see the little boy, you see him talking to his father, whose head is literally the same shape as The Rock's. Like, I knew instantly that his dad was The Rock.
So I didn't guess that his dad was The Rock. Probably because now here's my gripe with the whole dad being The Rock thing.
Go on.
The head replacement was so obvious. Like the VFX, like I get it. Like they needed to make The Rock look skinny. But The Rock's head doesn't look right on a skinny body. And it was so obvious when they were like doing a face replacement or anything. And I get that's the only way they could do it.
Yeah.
But they honestly could have got away with not having to do that if they just made The Rock was the little boy. And so maybe that's why I didn't pick up an Australia, because my brain just didn't associate some skinny dude being known to be The Rock.
No, I get that. I also... What was my next point? I did have another point.
There's the meme shot that everyone's using.
The meme shot?
When he's flying through the air and it does like the 360 cam style thing where you've got like the distorted Rock's head.
Oh, okay, yeah, got you.
That shot was a bit not so sure about that.
Yeah. On to the things I absolutely adored about this film and some of their stronger points.
Okay.
The action was brutal, fast-paced, and fun.
Yes.
That's a huge plus for a superhero film. The way they showed off his ability to use his super speed, his speed blitzing, with literally you feeling like you're watching it in real time most of the time, and just like these dashes, big fan of that. It shows why speedsters are overpowered and why the Flash would solo anyone.
I really, with the speed thing, I really enjoyed how when we first saw it, we only get it in like real time, and like he's kind of blitzing and destroying everything. Then to kind of really show it off a bit more, they do the typical what I call bullet time, where they slow it down, and you see like him just like slightly touching a propeller to go this way.
I'm okay with one of them shots in a film.
Yeah, this is I'm glad they did it only once. Like I'm fine with them doing it once to kind of show you the perspective of what's going on when he's going that fast. But once is enough to kind of show the viewer like this is how the Black Adam sees it. Now for the rest of the time we can show you what it's like real time, so you really feel how fast it is all the time.
Yep, completely agree. The next big thing I loved was the story. The story of Kahndaq being run by this gang that had just taken over and no one helping, and then the JSA turning up to bring the Rock in because he's dangerous, and then being shocked when they weren't welcomed with open arms by the people. I think it is a not so subtle way of saying, hey, first world countries, stop acting like you're morally superior and holier than thou when you're willing to just let people die until going in and helping benefits you.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
until it's like an issue to the greater world, you don't really
yeah,
care.
exactly. It's a very popular and well-known phrase. One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Um,
I
and I think in these current times, the word terrorist gets thrown about a lot. And anyone who wants to see any kind of change can be viewed as a bad person. Um, so I think kind of showing that not everyone lives the same life and sometimes different methods are needed is a valid
yeah.
point to make.
I also really liked how there was obviously like we were given this thing of there's the big bad shit going on, which is the gang. Then you had the JSA and Black Adam butting heads, but both realizing that this other thing's kind of an issue. One what like Black Adam wanted to deal with the gang, doesn't care about JSA. JSA is trying to deal with him and will try and deal with the gang after. Um and it sort of all solves itself in a little way. But then so you kind of as you're watching, you're like, okay, they got the son back. JSA is doing their dumb thing now where they're putting him in a cell. Like he accepted, cool. To then being like, slight twist, Big Bad's not gone, Big Bad's still here. Now you need Black Adam. And showing that, like, see, there is use for people like Black Adam, and there's a time and a place for it, even if you deem him dangerous. I really liked how you kind of get the sense the story's done, and then they're like, oh no, it's not over yet. Now it's Black Adam's turn to be the good guy, essentially.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I think it kind of managed to speed run the whole Black Adam is savior who goes too far, becomes bad guy, becomes savior, becomes anti-hero. And they skipped that pipeline pretty effectively. Without leaving you going, oh, I feel like I'm missing some character development here. And
Yeah.
that's tricky to pull off. But they did a very good job of it.
I think what helped with that was them altering his kind of origin with the whole him taking off his son and going too evil then, which got him locked away by the wizards. I think that helped sell that. And I did like the way that they did his between Black Adam and Hawkman and their kind of interaction throughout to the end where Hawkman even accepts the fact that, okay, your method is needed sometimes. And that understanding of Black Adam as an anti-hero, he's not always the right answer, but he is the answer sometimes.
Indeed. And then we got one of the greatest post-credit scenes of all time.
You put in our chat post-credit screen also goated or something along those lines. Because I honestly hadn't
PCS was huge pog also.
Yeah. I hadn't even considered post-credit scene, I'll be honest. So then I was like, okay, well, I have to stay now. Made sure I stayed. People getting up and leaving, doing the usual thing that people do, and I was just like,
I can't remember the last time I didn't watch credits at this point because of that bastard who wears a hat.
Even any TV show now, if I'm watching on Netflix or something, I scroll over the credits to check there's no post. It's ingrained.
They've got us by the balls.
Great reveal.
Great reveal. Very happy to have Henry Cavill back as Superman. Very cool interaction between him and Amanda Waller of her going, okay, you don't want to be in our prison, that's fine.
Yeah.
Conduct's now your prison. You stay there. You leave, we will stop you.
Yeah, she realizes that's because she realizes she can't do shit to stop him realistically. So it's better to just let him,
like a lot of the world in fucking danger in the fallout.
So it's better to make him think he has some sense of freedom.
Yeah.
With Conduct.
And to be fair, I mean, he doesn't particularly want to leave Conduct. He can stay there. He can protect his people. Blah 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 blah.
But then the line of, he was like, "Oh, we already know
You can't hurt me, yeah.
no one on your planet can stop me." And she goes, "Well, doesn't have to be this planet,
Yeah.
bitch."
So originally, by the sounds of it, that was just going to be a headless Superman, or like a silhouette, and you don't get to see the face.
Oh, okay.
And then Henry Cavill agreed to come back for it.
Well, I think
Which obviously means he's back.
Well, yeah. So the thing is, from my understanding, back after, I think it was after Justice League film,
Yep.
they officially said that they were done with Henry Cavill as Superman.
It wasn't they were done with him; he was done with them.
My understanding was they were done with him because they wanted to use Supergirl.
Nope. Him and Affleck both kind of went, "You guys don't have a fucking clue what you're doing. We're done."
Okay, so it was it was also probably a mix of both.
Yeah. It was all going to shit, and everyone just wanted to have some power in the situation.
So then only literally like, obviously this film got made, but I think the Rocks even said when they wrote the script, they didn't have Henry Cavill. Like, it's only when they were in production that they got it locked in. And it is a contract now where he's locked in as Superman for X amount of time.
And here comes my next concern about the next installment of Black Adam.
Oh.
Because what they've given us, as we discussed a couple of weeks back, is a Chekhov's gun. They have loaded the gun. They have teased the fight. They now have to provide the fight.
They do.
Now, here is where I get concerned, and this is where my concerns about The Rock being in such an important role have been voiced over the build-up for this film.
You have.
The Rock, in basically every contract since he's been a legitimate A-lister, has basically limited how much he can be seen to be losing a fight, including counters on punches to the face and stuff like that. And this isn't for like a health and safety, oh, you can only punch me in the face. This is in the actual edit of the film, how many times can my character be punched in the face? Which is why him and Vin Diesel and Jason Statham and everyone butted heads so much on the Fast and Furious films, because they all have contracts like that, where they have to be seen to be the big tough guy, because how can I go around and sell myself to Hollywood as the big tough guy if in my last 4 films I've had the shit kicked out of me? The problem is, Superman has to win.
Here's my thing and hope. Maybe we're going to get some Rock character development.
You mean the highest paid actor in Hollywood for like last 6 years?
My only reason I say this, right?
Oh no, I'm going to do this for the good of the film.
So, Black Adam was quite clearly a passion project for him, which makes me hope that he will still want to be true to how Black Adam should be done, whether it goes against how he personally looks. I'm hoping, because it's such a passion project, he'll put Black Adam's success on like priority over himself. I hope. Obviously,
I love how much faith you have in people.
Someone has to.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our doubts about the film, and the film turned out. So this is why I'm putting hope there that he really is passionate about Black Adam being done properly, and that means he puts it above his own priorities.
Well, you're going to have enough hope for both of us.
Yeah. The bigger question, though, is like, now that that's been a success, they've clearly set up Superman coming back.
Mm-hmm.
How looped in is The Rock with... is this The Rock? Rock chose to do this? Is DC going to fumble the bag again with another like storyline set up to link films? Or is DC actually going to grab the bag this time and figure out what they're doing and actually link all their films together properly?
Who knows? I think all of this is very up in the air until The Flash finally comes out in 2029.
It's not. I'm sorry. I would happily put money on the fact the Flash film doesn't come out now.
It's coming out. The amount of money they've put into keeping Ezra Miller out of prison and making the film and promoting the film and editing and re-editing and reshooting and re-editing. Honest to God, the bill for this film has got to be well past 200 million at this point, including everything surrounding it.
I'd agree with you if they hadn't deleted Batgirl.
The test screenings have done too well.
I don't trust DC anymore. I think they quite happily would just delete a film.
I get that, but there is one more thing that you haven't considered.
Go on.
Deleting it now is only bad press. If they were going to delete it, they could have deleted it 6 months ago when Ezra Miller was in the news every other day.
You think DC cares about bad press at this point?
True.
Bad press is good press to them because it means they're in the press.
But anyway, us DC fans will have to be patient and wait and see what is next.